Get ready for a massive dose of combat sports news. Joe Rogan is weighing in on Ronda Rousey's explosive fighter pay rant, and he's got some thoughts. Plus, could unsanctioned UFC fights at the White House actually happen, and what does it mean for the athletes? And we spotlight a rising star, Damien Anderson, with a unique grappling masterplan and uncover Liverpool's next potential UFC sensation, Luke Riley. You don't want to miss this. Subscribe and hit that bell.
Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Joe Rogan weighs in on Ronda Rousey's UFC pay criticism. Joe Rogan, a prominent voice in the fight community, has shared his perspective on Ronda Rousey's recent strong statements regarding fighter pay within the UFC. Rogan, speaking on his podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience with Dustin Poirier, acknowledged that Rousey's criticisms, particularly in the wake of the UFC's massive $7.7 billion deal with Paramount and the ongoing Netflix partnership, have merit. Rousey had publicly stated that the UFC has become one of the worst places for fighters to earn a living, pointing to athletes resorting to platforms like OnlyFans to supplement their income, while the organization secures lucrative broadcast deals. Rogan highlighted that Rousey's vocal stance not only brings attention to the issue, but also applies pressure on the UFC to reevaluate its compensation structure. He pondered the potential impact if Netflix, known for its significant financial backing, decides to invest more deeply in MMA, potentially shifting the landscape of fighter compensation and making individual fighters, rather than promoters, the main draw. The discussion has ignited significant debate among fans and analysts about fair compensation in professional fighting. Many are watching to see if this public pressure translates into tangible changes from the UFC. Could the UFC really host fights at the White House? Stick around to find out. Next, we dive into the controversial possibility of unsanctioned UFC bouts on federal ground. Unsanctioned UFC fights at the White House, record implications under scrutiny. The UFC is reportedly considering hosting an event at the White House, a spectacle that could cost upwards of $60 million. However, a key detail has emerged. The promotion may forego a $100 permit to officially sanction the event with the District of Columbia Combat Sports Commission. Andrew Huff, a representative from the commission, has expressed concern, warning that if the fights remain unsanctioned, the outcomes will not be officially recognized on the athletes' professional records. Huff emphasized the importance of consistent standards for all promoters, regardless of event size or location, and raised worries about setting a precedent for unsanctioned fights on federal land. This situation draws parallels to past UFC events held on Native American reservations, which operate under their own commissions, and instances where the UFC has acted as its own commission in foreign countries. While the event appears to be moving forward, the decision to bypass the DC Commission, despite existing channels for sanctioning, raises questions about the UFC's motives and the potential impact on fighter records. From potential White House bouts to a fighter meticulously crafting his path to the top, we explore a unique journey. Next, discover how Damien Anderson used a grappling masterplan to prepare for his MMA dreams. Damien Anderson's grappling masterplan, a calculated path to the UFC. Damien Anderson always envisioned a career in fighting, but he prioritized a strategic and safe approach. Instead of immediately diving into striking, Anderson dedicated years to honing his grappling skills, a decision influenced by his early exposure to jiu-jitsu at Rutgers University under the tutelage of John Danaher. He believed that a strong grappling foundation was key to intelligent fighting, allowing striking opportunities to emerge from a position of control. Anderson's methodical approach involved competing at the highest levels of grappling, including WNO, Polaris, and Fight to Win, and participating in combat jiu-jitsu tournaments, all before making his MMA debut. His MMA career began with a stunning 69-second knockout, proving his striking ability was also formidable. Anderson has since continued to develop his striking under coach Elton Wells, whom he considers a future legend in MMA striking instruction. With 5 professional wins, all by finish, 4 submissions, 1 TKO, and never having seen a third round, Anderson feels ready for the UFC. He's actively seeking a call-up, even willing to step in on short notice, and believes he can compete with the top 10 fighters in the bantamweight division. From a calculated rise through grappling to a fighter who pursued the sport at an astonishingly young age. Next, we uncover the story of Liverpool's next potential UFC star. Luke Riley, Liverpool's next UFC star with an unconventional start. Luke Riley's journey to the UFC began unconventionally, with him ditching school at the age of 10 to compete in amateur bouts in Thailand. This early immersion in mixed martial arts, even at an age where padding and restrictions were common, fueled his desire for more intense competition. Riley, now 26, has dedicated his life to the sport, a path supported by his working-class family who invested heavily in his training, travel, and development. This sacrifice has been a significant motivator for Riley, who is eager to repay their faith and support. Having spent years honing his skills, Riley rose through the ranks of Cage Warriors, amassing an impressive 11-fight win streak with 9 finishes, predominantly by TKO or knockout. His dynamic fighting style and engaging personality have drawn comparisons to other successful Liverpool fighters like Paddy Pimblett, who has publicly predicted Riley's greatness in the featherweight division. Riley made his UFC debut with a second-round knockout and is now set to compete in the co-main event of UFC London. He embodies the intense dedication and raw talent that the UFC looks for, aiming to carve out his own legacy on the biggest stage. That's a wrap on our top stories, but don't go anywhere yet. We've got a lightning round recap coming up to refresh your memory on all the biggest news. What a show! We heard Joe Rogan weigh in on Ronda Rousey's UFC fighter pay rant, explored the possibility of unsanctioned UFC fights at the White House, highlighted Damien Anderson's unique grappling masterplan, and uncovered Liverpool's next potential UFC star, Luke Riley. Don't miss out on any of the action, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and follow us on all social media platforms for more exclusive content.